Hey everyone, welcome back, and I'm so happy that you are here. Congratulations of being here. Now if you're here, um, today in this video that you have signed up to learn, I'm very glad that you are here. You know why? Because I think with today's class, I believe that you're gonna make very um, tectonic shifts. You know, and I think that, and I feel that it's not going to be an easy choice. I believe, right? For some of you, maybe it's a okay, but for some of you, maybe you are in a situation where 79 bucks could be everything you have, or 50% of what you have. Okay, now for some of you, maybe it's just less than 1% of what you have, right? And you're just curious and you're starting out, maybe your sales for the first time, you're raising capital for the first time, you are doing persuasion, conversion for the first time. For some of you, maybe you are already in your 10th year of sales, but you're not getting that breakthrough. You're not getting that income level that you want. Now, whichever spectrum that you're from and you're with, I believe that today is going to be the one day that changes everything for you for the entire lifetime. Now, obviously, for 79 bucks, you're not going to learn. You're not going to have the capacity to learn everything I have for the last 10 years within a training video like this. However, I promise you that in today's video and in today's class that we invested for is going to be the best 79 bucks that you have ever spent. That you will see 740, 7,000 coming back to you if you put this to work. All right. And then at the end of the class, of course, if you want to further study and get into closer study with me, then I'm gonna invite you for the class as well. All right, for the full program if you want to learn the full thing. Now, in today's class and in this class, I'm going to cover a fraction of and a part of the full process. I'm gonna walk you through what is the 5-step process, and step one is to put yourself into a position of power. All right. Now, when you put yourself into the position of power, let's recap from what you learned earlier. Okay, what you learned is that you cannot be one of the many, because when you are one of the many, right, what kind of customers and investors do you get? You get the lousy one, right? You don't get the good ones, correct or not? You get compared on prices, you are never measured by your value, and you are never um, going to be appreciated for what you really do. Okay, now, so what you want to do is to put yourself in the position of power where you are perceived, and not just perceived, but you are really the best in their heart. I'm not talking about the best in the entire world. If you are, that's great. Okay, but if you're watching this, and if you are who I think you are, and who you might be, one of group of you, is that you don't have a following, you are not a celebrity, maybe you're not a speaker as well, but you're just starting out in sales in your 20s. Maybe you're in your 40s and 50s, but you don't have a following. You are not a celebrity. You don't have a big audience, right? You're just starting out. Now, when I say the best for you, that means what I'm talking about, right? Is that you're the best in that person's heart. The meeting that you're going to have tomorrow, you're going to be the best person in the entire life of the customer in front of you, right? If you're not the best, then at least you are the exclusive or the only one that can deliver to them what they want out of life. I guarantee you, if you follow through on this training, even though it's only 79 bucks, even though it's only one part of a bigger full program, I promise you and I guarantee you that if you put the learnings into practice in this class, okay, you are going to see tectonic shift. If you play games, I'm gonna say that it's gonna be a godlike shift. If you watch anime, I'm gonna say it's gonna be like a Rasengan whatever world of change. It's going to be like a Super Saiyan kind of transformative change. Because you know why? Once you put the learnings into practice from today's class, you are going to be so unique, so special, that your customer is going to line up and say, what can I buy from you? In fact, you know what? Some people who have learned this, right? They told me, they gave me a feedback is that their customer asked them to stop talking, stop selling, because they're like, what can I buy from you? And I meet that, I face that sometimes as well, right? Unfortunately, when you're talking to a big crowd, nobody's gonna do that, right? But what you do get is some people leaving their seats and walking to the back of the sales table, and they start buying, right? That is something that I feel, that when the first time I experienced it, I didn't know what I was doing, right? What you're about to learn is my decades of experience put into a very, very impactful training, because I come across two groups of people, okay? Two kind of students and clients. One, they have a lot of time. They're just curious. They're just starting out. So they have a lot of time trying to find out what kind of pieces of information, who they can trust and who they can learn from, who they can further their study with. Okay, so that might be one group of you. The second group of my clients are people who are very, very knowledgeable already. They are very good at what they do already. They are kind of like, I'm not the first person you learn persuasion with, or conversion from, or pitching, selling, closing, right? I'm not the first guy you learn closing from. You might even have learned from world-renowned US people, okay? And for some reason, you're still watching this because there's no breakthrough. Maybe you are breakthrough to a certain level, you feel stuck, and then someone passed you this class, told you to come attend, or maybe you saw it from one of my marketing efforts, my outreach efforts, and you don't really have that much of a time in the universe to execute. Maybe you are in your 40s or 50s, right? And then you don't have a lot of time to go through hundreds of hours of content. You need something that is like swift, decisive, impactful, one thing that can create tectonic shift in everything. If that's you, this is exactly tailored for you, because I found that a lot of my clients, especially people like you, they cannot spend hundreds of hours learning anymore. You know why? Because they're already in their 50s. They're already in their 40s, 50s, even 60s, right? They're managing maybe multi-million funds. They're managing multi-billion companies. They don't have time to sit in a class like this for the next 100 hours, right? So they have a lot of meetings. To get even 5 minutes out of you is already my pleasure and my honor and my privilege. I am thankful and grateful that you are here listening for the last 10 minutes, all right? So I guarantee you, and I promise you, okay, what you might learn in this class, uh, even if you have already learned before, this class is going to give you extreme clarity, because that's how I help my other clients as well. Now, um, and finally, how I construct this class and how I deliver this class, I would love to give you one of my biggest motivation. Right? Remember this when I told you in the first class. I said that this is the uncomfortable, brutal, but honest truth. It's not about what you do, because dime a dozen, there are thousands of sales trainers out there. There's another thousands of speakers, and there's another thousands and gazillions of people who teach about closing, persuasion, selling, and everything, you know. So it's not really about what I do. It's really about why I do it. You see, one of my biggest motivation of how I prepare all my classes, if you have attended any one of them or this is your first one, right? How I prepared all my classes, they are not for my clients. Right? You might be wondering, huh? What do you mean, Jason? What do you mean by it's not for my clients? You're right. My stock courses, my all kind of courses that I created, all kind of programs I create with one person and a few person in my mind, right? And primarily that person is my younger brother, my titi, right? Um, I'm ahead of him by about 6 years, and we disconnected while I was busy and you know uh, building out my career, and learning all these wealth skills. Whatever you're learning today, it took on the back of sacrificing the time with him, the moments with him, and I basically gave up and I sacrificed his learning years. And with that, being said, uh, I create my programs and my courses in the event that he needs it. In that situation where his children, my nephews, might need it, right? I don't know what I can't buy back the time that I've lost with my younger brother. It's one of my biggest regret in my life. But I hope that I can provide something for my future nephews, you know, my future legacy, someone else, maybe my cousin, my younger cousins as well, you know, because I gave up a huge part of my life in order to acquire the knowledge and to achieve the accomplishment I managed to have, whatever I have, you know. So that's my motivation that I want to share with you. And that's why I take pride, and that's why I take such great extreme how do you put it, um, importance and significance in everything you are learning. Even if it's a free class, if it is for selling, so to speak, I never want something to go out of my mouth and into the world without it being useful for my little brother. Therefore, I don't really create a lot of sales video. If you realize, everything is about teaching. Every free class, every even if I need to sell something, it is always about teaching something useful. Okay? So that's my motivation and that's my brand promise to you. That's my guarantee and my promise to you that every time you hear my class, every time you're on my class, and every time you hear me speak, whether is it free, whether is it paid, okay, long, short, I prepare it in the event that in case my nephews or my brothers are ready to enter the game of persuasion, they need it for their career, they need it for their next level of life, they need it for their next stage of life. Okay? Now, in doing so, I hope that you, your children, your nephews, your cousins, your legacy would be able to benefit as well one day because you found it useful. Sounds good? All right. Thanks for listening to my story. Let's get right into it. All right. Okay. So remember I said that it's not about what you do, right? The honest truth is it's not about what you do that convince your prospect and your clients um to switch from no, I don't need this to I must have this. It is going to be your story. Remember that? I said that it's going to be your story because that's what's going to make you unique. Your motivation is what's going to make you unique. It's going to make you connect to people, knowing how to tell your story. But that's not good enough, right? It's not good enough because you need to know the right sequence in terms of telling a story, just like this example. Okay? Now, you need to know this. There is a sequence of delivering your story. Now, today's class is not about creating your story. Okay? Now, however, this is to tell you that as I teach you how to set yourself up in a position of power, as I tell you and I convince you that story is going to be the one thing that changes everything to put you as the number one in your prospect's mind, the exclusive and the only one in your buyer's heart, as well as the unique and special one in your client's life. In that sense, you know that telling stories are important. Now I'm trying to tell you that you cannot just tell the stories in any sequence, in any part you like. Right? Some people go on and on and on about a story, okay, and they lose the prospects. Okay. Now, so bear in mind that storytelling is important, but storytelling with the right sequence is mission critical. Okay. Example over here. When you're telling a story, if you say the dog bit Joe versus Joe bit the dog, right? Could you be saying the right things wrongly? Is it making sense? Right? Now, so in today's class, right, what I want to share with you is how to put yourself in the position of power. But know this, that you need to put yourself in the position of power and you need to learn how to put it in the right sequence. And in the right sequence is where the full program will teach you how to do it in the right sequence. Today, I'm going to give you the elements of how to put yourself in the position of power. Today is going to be like giving you the recipes and the ingredients to make a cake, okay? And if you just use it, you can definitely create outcome. Because what is today about? Why is today so powerful? Why am I so confident in what I'm talking about? Because today will give you that first breakthrough. And I hope that you become a customer for life, a client for life as well. Okay? Because why? Because today I'm going to teach you and show you how to speak to the three brains. Now you might be thinking, what three brains? We only have one brain. No. We have three. All right. Now starting from the left of your screen that you're looking at, is called the neocortex brain. The neocortex brain is the most advanced brain. It is the advanced reasoning and computation brain. Think of this brain like the Microsoft Word of the brain. Okay, this is like has all the advanced features. It always look things through a skeptical and a very a lens of high functioning reasoning, high functional. All right. Now, this brain is often and most of the time we use to talk. And if if you have not been, if you're just starting out, you are not getting the sales, you are not closing clients and prospects and investors, you're not getting what you want. It's 80-90% of the time that you are using this brain to talk to people. So what are the examples of some of the ways you're using this to talk to people, right? When you're talking about all the features and you're talking about all the fuel efficiency, remember I used the car as an example, right? Okay, you're telling them the nuts and bolts, you're telling them all the you're telling them all the surface things, right? The features. You're telling them how sexy is this item. You're telling them all the advanced things. But you know what? So that's the example. But you know what? When your audience are listening for the first time, okay, most of the time, guess which brain is listening, right? If you guessed the right one, the red one, you're right. If you guess the blue one, you're not wrong either. Okay? So, what is the blue one? The blue one, the blue brain, is what we call the limbic brain. It's also called the midbrain. And this brain is responsible for the entirety of your memories, your entirety of your emotion, your serotonin, your dopamine, and a lot of this. This part of the brain is the controlling center of everything, and it's in the middle. There's looking every emotion that you produce. High chance it came from this brain. All right, it stores all the long-term memories, all your sexual drive, all your primal desires, everything. The reason why you want that car come from possibly this brain. All right, and then after that, your reptilian brain, which is the red color of the brain. Now that is the brain I'm gonna teach you how to talk to today. This is that one shift that is going to be creating a tectonic shift. This is the reason why you get married. This is the reason why you get into argument. This is the reason why you get into anything. Because this is the subconscious brain of everything. This is a muscle memory. This is the part where it controls and governs the safety and survival of your entire sense of being. So in today's class, I'm teaching you how to talk to the blue and the red. All right. And the mistakes you are making is talking to the green. Now, what is the green and what is the blue and red? It essentially is also the logic and emotional brain. Okay. Now, write this down. That buyers, they spend and they purchase on emotion, which is the red and the blue. And then they justified it with the green, which is the logic. So buyers buy on emotion And then later on, they justify with every logic they can find. Now, what most salespeople, what most startup founders who pitch for capital do wrong is they start with all the logics, right? They start with all the logics and they fail to understand that the buyers are not buying based on logic. You might think that they are buying on logic. They might give you all the answers in logic about why they buy. But the truth is, I like to say this quote: buyers vote with their wallet, but decide with their heart. Okay? Now think back the last time you spent something that is way out of budget. Why did you do that? Way out of budget. Like maybe you have a budget for $100, okay? And then you spend like $500. Why did you do that? Is it because it's really a logical buy? Or is it because of something else? And today we are going into that something else. Today is going to be that something else that you finally learn for the first time. And you're going to get a lot of aha moment that you yourself were involved in such a situation. All right. Now, time check now is about 21 minutes into the class. Now, the class will take no more than another 5 slides, which is another maximum of 10 to 20 minutes. All right. So if you're someone who is very busy with your life, schedule yourself for the next 10 to 20 minutes maximum. All right. And then you can get on with your life after you learn this class. All right. Now, so here's the thing. Remember this chart? Okay, the first time you see it, now this is the advanced version. What you need to do in every presentation, every pitch, and every persuasion process is to learn how to reduce and eliminate the doubt in your prospect's mind. At the same time, you need to increase the desire inside of them. Okay? Now, a lot of people do wrong is what? What is the biggest reason people do, or biggest mistake that I notice most people doing? Okay, is that they frantically they basically, right, they do everything they try to do to increase the desire. You know, they learn. I make this same mistake, right, when I first started as well, right? Now then later on in life I realized that, you know, it's like you keep feeding yourself with food and then you keep starving yourself with yummy food, okay? But there's a point of time where you get full and you cannot digest, and inside of you is like constipation and you wouldn't want to eat anything anymore, right? Now, this is exactly like those moments where some of your buyers who, because you see, there's only so many buyers in the market. Some of the buyers that you meet, right, they are going to already been exposed to a lot of sales pitches, especially if you are a startup founder and you are raising capital and you're doing it for the first time, and you're just a good programmer. You are just a good, whatever it is that you're good at, but you're not in sales for the last 10-20 years. You have never studied this kind of stuff, and then you go on and tell them about everything that's good about your company. And some of these investors, right, they already have a lot of sales pitches. They're like already buffet. They have a buffet of pitch that they cannot digest. That's why they are not investing. That's why they are not listening. That's why they are not paying attention. Is this making sense? Right? And then if you're talking to buyers and customers, it's the same thing. There's only so many customers, right, in the market that's ready to buy something right now, and the rest you need to follow up with. And then this is very normal that I see everyone trying to tell them why they should buy, right? And everyone is like, trying to sell chicken rice, trying to sell lobster, trying to sell everything to people who just came out of a buffet. It's gonna be so full, right? If you're so full coming out of a buffet, you can't even feed dessert unless you're a girl. You can't even feed dessert. And what I want you to understand is that just put yourself in the shoe of someone coming out of a buffet meal. You're so full already. You're full to the brim already. and someone still try to sell you about how good their food is. No, even if it's delicious, it cannot enter your system anymore. This is exactly like that, right? So what you need to do if you meet someone like that, and how do you know that if you're meeting left or right, you might be thinking right now, all right? That's where the full program teaches you how to isolate whether someone requires more of which side, okay? And you'll be surprised. It just takes about 2 hours to understand this, and then to put it to practice. But it just the program, the module is only 2 hours, all right? So what you want to do if you meet this group of people is you need to learn how to remove the doubt in their mind. Removing doubt is like helping them digest first, letting their system not be full anymore first. This is like that. So only when they are hungry again, only when they didn't come out of a buffet meal, only then they can start to consider or to listen to why your food is good. Make sense? Good. All right. So if they're already coming out, let's recap what we have covered so far. All right. We covered that you need to stop becoming one of the many. Correct? Good. So how do you not become one of the many? That's where this desire and doubt framework is going to help you. Because if you are going to keep talking and talking and talking about your product, about how good you are, but they're already full to the brim from a buffet meal. They've already heard a lot of sales pitches, okay? They are still not going to buy from you. In fact, they are going to just shut off, they're going to shut down, they're not going to listen, right? Okay? So if you keep doing that, and you don't know how to isolate them between which side of the quadrant they belong to, what you end up with is that you become one of the many. Isn't it true? Because you are just like everyone else who is trying to sell them something. Okay? However, if you move to the other side of the quadrant, if you learn how to isolate them, if you discover that they are someone who just come out of a buffet meal, okay, you no longer try to sell them about how good your food is and talk about your food. No. You are removing the doubts in their head. You're learning how to reduce the doubt they have. Okay? And when you do that, wouldn't you be perceived as someone different? And when you're different, isn't it true that you are unique and special? Because hey, everyone tried to sell me shit, but you didn't sell me. In fact, you helped me understood something that I didn't know, that I could do this and get that. And if you achieve that result, isn't it true that you become the exclusive person in their heart that cares for them? Now, when you care for someone, when someone cares for you and your situation, and they make an attempt to understand you, now, wouldn't they become the best in your heart compared to everyone else? Now, guess where the buyer is going the next time the buyer is hungry? That's right. You. Making sense? So, now do you realize that it is not what you do that makes all the difference? It's who you are that makes all the difference. Right? It's who you are that makes all the money. What you do does not make the difference. It's who you are. When you do that, you enter the process of them realizing they must have this. They must have what you have. Okay? And that's how Jeffrey, Javier, and everyone else make the shift, because they realize that it's not what they do, it's who they are that makes all the money, right? It's not what they do that makes all the difference, it's who they are that makes all the money. They no longer perceive as one of the many. They no longer become, they no longer be stuck on the left side. And it's all because understanding that they do not want to be stuck in doing the left thing, which is the logical thing, Because they finally understood that the first step is not to be like everyone else so that you don't become like the many. What do I mean? That means you knowing how to install desire and reduce doubt. That is the two things you must do in this equation. Sounds good? Great. So what is that 7 doubt? So let's go through what is the 7 doubt you need to remove in their head, in their customers, in your potential prospect customers and everything. Why do I say that this will put you into power? Now do you get it? Good. Because once you remove this doubt in their head, it's like helping them to clear off the buffet meal they just had. Because why? Most of us, right, we carry this around us 24/7. 24/7, this is inside of us. It's as if we have 24/7 buffet, right? And this gets so-called the impact gets significantly larger in the pitching world and in the startup world. Why? Because every angel, every investor, every VC, every investor will receive hundreds of pitches every day in their email, in their inbox, in their LinkedIn, and every day meeting hundreds of startups listening to the pitch. Okay, so what they are buffet, correct or not? Now, so what you want to do is removing these 7 doubts in your customer's mind from the person in front of you. So the person, your audience, your investor, whether is it your investor, whether is it your buyer, your client, your prospect, they constantly have these 7 doubts in their head. Okay, now understand one thing, they are not going to trust you at the beginning, especially if they don't know you. So trust is built only when these doubts are removed. Don't expect trust and then you won't be disappointed with doubt. Understand? So they have no reason to trust you, but they have every reason to doubt you. So what you want to do is start with the 7 doubts. Now, whether is it you are in a relationship, whether is it that you are an employee in a job, a boss, an entrepreneur hiring a team, this is constant. Everyone will think about this, contextualize into their situation. Agree? So number 1 is, does it work? If you're selling a program, remember how I got you here in the first place, why you're watching this in the first place. I proved to you that what I have works. I've shown you results and case studies. It works, right? So what if you have not produced result? What if you're new into the business? Okay, then you need to prove that it works for what you're doing has worked before, right? Okay, and is it going to be easy or difficult? Because you see, humans don't like to do things that's too difficult. They don't like to start off anything that's too difficult. There's another group of people that they really enjoy starting difficult, but majority of the people is they won't start if it's too complicated to start off with because they don't get it, right? So you need to make it very easy, very simple for your buyers, your customers, your investors, right? Is it easy to manage your deal? Is it easy for your business? Is it easy for your business to scale, to get capital? Is it easy for you to go from pre-seed round to seed round to A round, B round, C round, right? Is it easy? For them, they are thinking, okay, is it easy if I'm in the angel round, I'm in the pre-seed round, in the seed round, right? Is it easy for me to go to A round? Make sense? Good. Now, then after that, the third question they have in their head is, well, will it work for me? Now, this is particularly true if, let's say this one, if the investor is trying to invest in your company for the sake of helping their business, right? It's kind of like a JV kind of thing, right? They are using your technology of sort. If you are selling to a customer, they are looking at, okay, this has worked for XYZ, okay, but will it work for me? You got to prove this doubt. You got to show them that it can work for you, right? So how I display these 3 questions to you, right? Number 1, I show you a lot of case studies and results, correct? Number 2, I've proven to you that it's easy to follow, right? Very simple concepts. Okay. Number three, would it work for you? Is where I showcase different industry in different segments and different sectors across people from different kind of thing, right? From fund management, finance level, top finance level, all the way down to boring traditional local businesses, right? Okay. Now, so the next four is where you have to address, okay, what if they say I'm not good enough? They will constantly think that, okay, you know what, this deal is good. This is particularly true, right? If you have someone who is like, okay, this deal is good, but I don't think I'm good enough to invest. Okay, they have this self-esteem barrier, or they feel that they are not qualified. They are not good enough to buy. They are not qualified. They feel that this is might not be the right time. They are constantly asking yourself, okay, am I qualified? Am I good enough? Okay, they will think to themselves. Now, if you don't learn to remove this doubt in their head, no matter how good your offering is, right? That's why you don't see buyers. This is especially true for people who are selling very high level program, because they are so good at what they do. The buyers, right? You can see, you remember some of my uh, successful client, okay? They were good at what they do, but when they sell an offer, nobody bought, and the reason is because the uh, the audience perceive it as a talent, that the speaker can do it, and it's because speaker has a talent, okay? That but the audience, the buyers, the students, they are not qualified, or they are not good enough to practice it. So this is the big tectonic shift, right? And finally, the last two is that they're thinking if this is the right time to buy. Do they have issues coming up? So how do you actually help them see that this is the right time? Very important. And finally, what will X say? For example, what will my wife say? What will my husband say? Okay. What will my son say? What will my whoever say? That is important, because why? Because that leads to your 10 fears. All right, those 7 dots. So that 7 dots stem from these 10 fears. Okay. Now, these 10 fears, very heavy content. So perk up if you're feeling sleepy, stand up if you're feeling tired. You need to be very focused here. Okay. Because this is that 10 fear that stems everything. If you do this right, you're going to see tectonic shift in your income. If you know how to address these 7 dots during your presentation, in your meeting, they will cross the T's, they will dot the I's, and they will sign on the dotted line. You will close your biggest deal yet, just like Leon closing 2.5 million of deal, just like Javier and Jeffrey closing tens of thousands in one day, all because they understand what you're about to learn right now. So perk up, and get ready, okay? Now, that 7 dots, let's recap a little bit. What have we done so far? We talk about how you need to increase the desire while reducing the doubts in their head. We talk about if they have doubts weighing down in their head, they will constantly say these 5 words: no, I don't need this, right? Why? Because their brain, the right side of their brain, is protecting them. The left side of the green side of the brain is also finding every reason they don't need it. Okay? So when you help to remove the doubt, what happens? You're speaking into the midbrain directly. You're cutting through the resistance like a butter, right? So when you do these 7 dots, as you are doing it, how do you do it? That's what I'm trying to give it to you here right now. This is a checklist of the 10 fears. This is the 10 primal fears. This is the 10 fears that drives everything. Every human being. I don't care if it's an investor. It doesn't matter if it's a buyer. It has nothing to do with what industry, sector, or segment you're from. Remember, I said that's why I showed you so many examples, right? Because as long as you are human, we inherit our brain from the last century, thus decades of centuries, and we inherit all these basic fears from our ancestors, from our karmic ties, and we take this, right? Every human has one of these 10, if not all of them. It's up to your skills to know how to isolate, identify, and implement it. However, even if you do a very raw job, you will get a lot of things going. Okay, so I split these 10 fears into two basic fears, two important mission critical fears. The first one is the fear of pain. The second one is the fear of loss. Okay, so time check is 40 minutes now. I'm gonna use the final 10 minutes to go deep into this, and then that is the end of this class, and that's where you go out there and you put this into practice, and then you come back to me and give me your testimony, that give me, just share with me your success so I can celebrate your achievements to everyone, just like how I've done it before, just like how I've done it before this class. All right, okay. Now, so perk up another 10 minutes and then we are done for the day. So the two big category of fear. Number one, the fear of pain. The fear of pain is very, very important. Why? Because, for example, how did Jeffrey actually closes his deal? Because number one, he starts to sell to people who actually the results mean more than them, to more prestigious schools, where failing the exam is a very shameful event and is going to get a lot of criticism from the parent, as well as when they go to an event, when they have a festive mood, they are tremendously embarrassed if their child fail. So why was he able to charge 10 times the fees? Remember, he was charging like 150, 200. He was charging now 3,000. How did he go from this to that? Number one, he stopped selling to people who cannot afford it. Number two, he sell to the people where it means more than them, because he understood this, right? So what area in your life can you adjust according to this, that you speak to the right people, and then you sell it to the right group of audience, where the weight loss means more than them, more to them, right? Remember the photography result case study example. Now, what he did was, I give him the same advice, right? And what he did, why would people buy the highest package and he can make more money, in fact double? Because he was selling to where they are newlyweds, meaning people who are getting married in the next 6 to 8 months. So if you're a photographer, if you're involved with weight loss, all right, so here's what's golden. If you're involved with that, okay, what has worked for him was he started selling it to people who are getting married in the next 6 to 8 months. Okay, if you're in weight loss, this group of people, they need to lose weight before the wedding day, right? So the weight loss, the losing of weight, becomes significantly more important in that junction of their life compared to any other periods in their life. That's why the sales went up. That's why everything changed, right? Why? Because they want to have that perfect image of themselves, whatever their perfect image is in their head. They want that. Therefore, they're willing to pay a premium to get certainty and guarantee on that item, on that outcome. Making sense? All right, good. So because once you understand this, what kind of area in your life can you start to make adjustments? Are you getting any aha moments from these case studies? Great. All right. Okay, good. So the other two fear of pain is past failures, as well as not worthy. This is very deep. Now, as you can imagine by now, this is talking to which part of the brain? For sure, not the logical brain. Do you get it now? Good. That's why it gets result for virtually everyone who attend the class. Got it? Good. So when the fear of pain on past failure and not worthy is when, especially you're trying to close people for more money. They have already met with unscrutinous sellers, providers, and vendors. If you trigger their so-called bad memories, if your behaviors triggers and remind them of their past failures, okay, you are never going to get the sales. So it's up to you on how do you remove that doubt in their head that you are not like their past failures, because it's a painful event for them to re-experience their past failures. It is shameful, it is an embarrassment to experience the failure again. Therefore, they don't want it to happen again. Because what would my wife say if I do it again? Do you see it now? Good. Are you getting a lot of aha moment? Great. Okay. So not worthy is the fear of pain of not worthy is the part where, if you look at this in the 7 doubts, is when they feel that they are not good enough, they are not qualified. So this is the part where the if you're going to be just one of the many, if you cannot help them see that. Okay, now this is a challenging fear, because this fear requires a little bit more advanced skill in order to help your customers to see that they are worthy. It's because it's really a bit of a themselves problem. Okay, so it's how do you during your presentation put them into a position of perspective that it has nothing to do with worthy or not. Okay, this is the part where a lot of people fear success more than being worried about failure. Okay, so let's go to the right side of the quadrant. Okay, um, the right side of the quadrant is about the fear of loss. Now, the fear of loss is when their fear of losing control, their fear of losing identity, losing their connection, their status, their comfort, and their stability. Now, will buying from you avoid this fear of loss? Or will buying from you, right, put them into a potential fear of loss? You see, you notice that there's no money involved here, because they are not worried about losing money. What they're worried about is if they give you this money, they fear that they lose the sense of control in their life. Because maybe giving you this money means the entire world to them. So how do you convince them and persuade them and give them the perspective of put them in the position of perspective that they will still be in control of their life? Got it? Right? So all of these are very, very critical. Okay, time is running out, so I want to go to the 8 keys of desire. When we have more time to spend together, I'd be happy to go through everyone one by one, deep dive and specifically contextualize to your business. All right. Now I want to really also give it to you. Now that you know how to remove doubts and fears, okay, that is great. Now, if you install this one, it's going to be like unlocking the final one, right? The doubts and fears are like the locks and chains. And this is the final thing that is going to click everything, because this is the keys. Everyone buy whatever product you are selling. Okay, I guarantee you, if you go out there and you start to readjust the way you sell. Now, know this, people don't buy whatever you have. If you're selling a weight loss product, if you're selling your company, if you're selling a investment product, whatever it is that you're selling, you might be thinking that, okay, you know what, this can help you make more money. But the truth is, right, people don't buy because it can make them more money. People buy because having that money or being involved in the process of getting that money involves this one of these 8, if not all of these 8. So let's go through these 8 one by one. So the ego of desire. Ego of desire is the easiest to explain. Would be how everyone wants to invest in, every investor wants to be invested in a ride sharing company just because they don't want to lose out. All right, that could be linked to both ego and survival. They're worried they lose out. They also is also linked to the desire of belonging as well. So ego is also where when they invest with you, they're thinking, okay, will I win so and so? Will I beat so and so? right? This is an ego, this is an achievement, this is a pride, this is something that's like a trophy for them. So when people buy from you, do you notice that sometimes you yourself or someone else, you want to take picture with someone else because this is like a trophy moment, right? So ego is like a trophy moment. Is when they so when someone buys something from you, it's a trophy moment. Right? It's an ego moment. It's something that they celebrate with, they can be proud of, they can brag about it. Okay. Now, second is the sexual attraction. Sexual attraction simply means that the opposite party, right? The opposite sex, the opposite, we are all driven by sexual companionship, right? So that's why you see Levi's jeans, and you see some of the advertisements by some of the big brands. They perfectly understood this desire. This is one of the biggest core desire of human being. This is one of the biggest core drivers. Okay, now then we come into survival, right? Survival can be linked to either preventing something from happening. Right? Survival does not mean bankruptcy or death. However, it is and can be, right? Survival of from disease, survival from survival to stay or here, survival of a company, survival of a job, right? Survival in a relationship. Okay. Survival can also mean um, survive in the sense of where you need to survive from a what's that called, like a traumatic situation. Okay, you need to survive from your sales career. Okay, so it's not always health or company or money. Okay, although it is and can be. Now, then we have freedom. Okay, uh, we have freedom, and freedom to go anywhere they want, freedom of not being trapped, freedom from health and disease, freedom from pain, freedom from suffering. Okay, these are the freedom. To belong is everyone have a sense of belonging, that they want to be a part of something bigger. They want to be a part of something, that thing. Remember what I told you about in the beginning about how everyone wants to belong to your story. They want to be involved in your story as well, right? Everyone wants to belong and be recognized, be appreciated, be accepted. So these are this is a very big desire deep down, and to leave behind a legacy. To leave something behind. This is not. Then after that, this is one big desire of myself, isn't it? Okay. To protect and to redeem, to protect and to redeem, to protect your family, protect their family, to protect their livelihood. So, for example, if you're against selling weight loss, right? To protect their sense of self-esteem, they want to keep the weight off. Is this making sense? Good. Right. So because of time constraint, I'm not giving very specific examples of every single item. All right. But when we have more time together, I'll be sure we can go into it more details and more in depth. Right. But can you see that there's a lot? There's this alone can change your entire being. Okay. And finally, is to redeem. Redeem is a big part of desire, right? Redeem is a big part of desire where people act out of shame, guilt, and regret, and they want to buy back. So people invest with you. For example, in the insurance industry, where people are buying life plans or unit trusts and things like that, they'll buy in other people's name and things like that, right? Rich man will buy things that's leave behind, and then the names will leave it for another name, right? These are all redemption related. Okay. Now, so that being said, the time check now, we are just right on time. Okay. Now, for those of you, this is today's class very, very rewarding, and you have a lot of aha moment. Yes or yes? Great, thank you. Okay. Now, if I'll just take the next few minutes, very short, under 5 minutes, for those of you who wants to further your study, for those of you who wants to deepen your skills, all right, then I would love to invite you to join us in the program. Join me in 1Pitch. Today you learn a fraction of a fraction, a slither of a slither of the elements inside of P. But the truth is, you cannot just use it on your own like that, especially if you don't know what you are doing. Okay? If you don't know what you're doing, it could end up backfiring on you. Because if you don't know what you're doing, if you don't know how to use it in a respectful and ethical way, if you don't know how to use it with integrity and in the right sequence, the negative word that is going to show up in front of a prospect that you're going to get labeled from would be that you are manipulative. That's a very negative word that you don't want to be, right? Because what we want to do is we want to respectfully help our prospects, our customers, our investors to be involved with us. We don't want to have too many of those negative creatures around us. True? Okay, so I want to transfer you the sequence and the skills in the system called 1Pitch Persuasion System. It involves 5 modules altogether. Okay, module number 1, you're learning part of it today, which is you become the number 1 in their hearts. Can you see that this is how you can get it? Good. All right. Now, number 2 is you learn how to get them, your prospects, your customers, and investors into a buying mood. Specifically, every one module here has 5 parts to it, have 5 components to it. In total, is a 20-step process from module 1 to module 4. Module 3 teaches you about how to teach them, how to advocate your products to them, how to demo your products to them. Okay, it talks then in this module is where you can get their wallet already. This is the part where, remember Javier and Jahal and all these clients and all these stories, right? That the prospect stops them from talking and then said, "I want you." This is the module. This is the module that got them there. That the prospect stops them from saying and talking and then say, "I want you." This is the part where you get their wallet. Okay. Now, module number 4 is where my multi-million closes, right? You saw how people close tens of thousands within 10, 20, 30 minutes, raise millions of capital, 10, 20, 30 minutes, right? So that is in module number 4. In module number 4, you learn all the closes that even if you lose a sale, you're able to win them back. I teach you every close in the universe that I've learned over the last decade that's worked for me. Okay, and in this module 1 to 4 is the full 20-step process that is going to make you a lot of money. It's going to get you any result you want. It's going to get you customers, investors, recruit the talents, improve a relationship, charge premium pricing, become the number 1, and not just anyone. You no longer become one of the many, but you become the best, the number 1, the exclusive, the only, the unique, the special in their heart, right? So you will experience, right? Even before module number 4, your customer starts to say they are ready to buy. Okay, good. So finally, module number 5, it talks about your daily habits, your manifestation. How do you go around doing that? Okay, and that's the module number 5 that how you do anything is how you do everything. Kind of, how do you manifest? Okay, every day, what kind of things, spiritually, emotionally, what do you need to do in order for you to land great clients, to get great referrals, so you can charge a premium and people will still pay you for what you're worth, right? Total, there's 5 modules involved, and again, like I said, it's not going to take you hundreds of hours. Each module, I think you can finish it within about 2 hours. Okay, so I think that in total you can complete within 10 hours. So if you're fast, within a day you can complete the whole thing, and tomorrow, right, if you purchased it today, if you enroll today, by tomorrow you could be closing multi-million deals already, right? Remember how I've got one student who closed $20,000 in just 30 minutes, and I got another one who closed like 10,000 in one day, right? It's possible. Okay, it's definitely not a myth, right? Or you can maybe spend maybe the week, and then you 2 hours a day, and you finish the whole program within a week, right? And then by next week you're closing those multi-million deals yourself. Sounds good? Great. So all the info you need is going to be on the button below, and then go ahead and get yourself enrolled and check in. And finally, I'm so confident in my product that I'm giving you a 100% money back guarantee. That if you learn everything, you put every learning into practice, and you don't see immediate improvements in your closing, in your deals, and in your persuasion, in your presentation, then it's 100% back money guarantee, right? Prove that you put it to work, show that so that's how confident I am that you can actually get results. All right, so go ahead. Thank you for watching this. You have been a great audience so far. Give yourself a round of applause. Give yourself a round of pat on the back. Okay, now if you want to further your study with us, if you want to deepen your skill with me, if you want to spend more time with me and to go into deeper details of all of this, then all you need to do, simply click on the button below, enroll yourself. You might see sales as soon as the next hour or the next day. And if you're slow, next week. If you're slower, maybe in just 1 or 2 weeks. And if you're really slow, then maybe you can still see it in a month. At the end of the day, you can see that for sure that if you put the practice to work, even in this class alone, you are going to see tectonic results. You're going to see tremendous shifts in your life that can be the one thing that changes everything, and it's going to be something that's going to be useful, not just one time, but for an entire lifetime. Wouldn't you agree? That's great. So go ahead, enroll yourself if you want to further your studies, and then I'll see you inside the program. All right, this is Jason here. All right, bye everybody. See you.